we doing?
Yes, bro. How are you? Okay?
I'm good. Are you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
So, this has been a long time coming.
Long time coming. 7 years. 7 years. Wanted to do this for a while. Yeah. I went from the happiest I'd ever been in my entire life to like feel like I took my eye off the ball a bit. And then this is when a huge problem came along. I had about 13 pairs of your high-end luxury designer trainers robbed out of the boot of my car in broad day. That cost me £13,000. It put me in massive debt. I developed an addiction. If you start doing things to cope with stress, it's a slippery slope, because you'll get used to that feeling, and really with your stress, you need to be hitting your stresses head on. Hello everyone, my name's Cal and I own Clean Soul, and I'm here to talk to you about the last 7 years of my business journey. The plenty of highs, the plenty of lows, but it's the lows that test your character through business, and I'm here to talk to you about it. Yes everyone, so I'm going to take you all back to the very start on how I first started Clean Soul, and how it came about was I was going to send my trainers off to be cleaned by someone locally for £15, and I dropped out of uni. I was never academic. I hated uni and school and university and college, and I was in just a student job, and I wasn't happy with the financial income I was getting, or where I was going. I was a bit lost. So when I saw this Instagram page on this shoe cleaning business on Instagram, I thought, oh, that's a sick idea. That's a sick idea. And I was going to send my trainers off to be cleaned for £15. But I thought about it. I thought, you know what? I'm going to get a prep kit for £15 and set up a free Instagram account and start it myself. And this is exactly what I've done. I started cleaning my own trainers, started cleaning my family's trainers, obviously free of charge, my friends' trainers free of charge, just to get the content for before and after pictures. And then I got my first paying customer on June the 18th 7 years ago, and within 6 months I managed to take it full time. Obviously I've always gone out, and I have a good social network of people, so I was able to kind of get my business out there quicker by just socialising and using Instagram to my strengths and stuff like that. And then you're doing competitions to try and get more eyes. Got drop-off services in barbers, so I had 3 drop-off services at the time. So I had two in Stourbridge, one in Stourbridge High Street, one just outside Stourbridge High Street, and then I had one in Wombourne as well, which kind of got me in Wolverhampton. So that kind of got me clients from a different area as well. So that worked well to a certain point. And then, like I said, I took it full time after 6 months. And then shortly after, COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, obviously everything went a bit pear-shaped, and I had to find another job again. And that was working for my missus's dad. He owns a fruit and veg company at a wholesalers. That allowed me to save up a bit of money to then, when the COVID restraints stopped, I managed to get a shop in Old Winkford. I started to resell trainers as well, so I kind of was trying to hit 2 markets. So the people who want their shoes doing would also like the sort of trainers to buy. When I was reselling, it was always my goal to open a shop in Stourbridge, become the first shop in Stourbridge to be a shoe clean and restoration service, as well as reselling all your Jordans, your Nikes, Jordans, 95s, all these sort of exclusive trainers, Yeezys, Dunks, Air Force Supreme, Palace, all these collab brands together, and it worked really well. So during the COVID restrictions, you could have only a certain amount of people in the shop at a time. That's when I opened my shop during the COVID restraints, but it was more lifted, as say. You can have a certain amount of people in the shop at the time. I had a bit of music playing, and it was really good. It was really good opening day. I sold a lot of trainers, had a lot of bookings come in, and then once the kind of restraints started to lift a bit more, I then identified Ibiza as being the place that I want to take my business next to. It's the party capital of the world, so it's going to be good for marketing. And also there's a lot of money floating about there. So there's a lot of people over there for the summers and the seasons who wear all the designer gear, and all these thought processes were going through in my head, and that made me realise that Ibiza was a place where I'd set my heart on it. Once I talked myself into something, I do not give up on it. So I then just went full steam ahead, completely hyper focused on the Ibiza project. I went over there during COVID, put posters up, caught flights to put posters up, network with people, offer free shoe cleans by just meeting random people in the street. I already had friends doing seasons over there, so they kind of got me into the people that lived there anyway. So a lot of the time, it's not what you know, it's who you know a lot of the time. So that really played in my favour by having friends already over there, living there, who they introduced me to, and then kind of they also had people who lived there, and it just expanded like a snowball, and it just all went really well from there with the content, the shout outs and everything like that. So then once I'd done 3 of these during the COVID times, it then gave me enough planning preparation to close my shop for 3 months, first summer post COVID, and then drive there to go and spend the whole summer cleaning trainers over there. I put all my eggs into one basket. I closed my shop for 3 months. I completely put everything on the line. I risked everything to go and succeed in Ibiza and become the first ever trainer cleaner on the island. And so like I said, I got a new car. I spent hundreds on materials. I drove from the UK. Well, I say from the UK. I drove from Stourbridge all the way down to Folkestone Eurotunnel and drive from there all the way to Ibiza and landing. I can't actually remember the day I actually landed in Ibiza, but I know I was there for the full 90 days. Because of Brexit, you couldn't stay for any longer. Ideally I'd have liked to, but I had 3 months to do it, and I landed, become the first ever person to clean trainers on the island, and it was going extremely well. I was getting trainers in left, right and centre, but because of this I feel like I took my eye off the ball a bit. I got a bit too comfortable, and then this is when a huge problem came along, where I had a load, about 13 pairs of your high-end luxury designer trainers robbed out the boot of my car in broad day. I wasn't in the car. I had parked my car on a dusty car park in Ibiza. If you go to Ibiza, you'll know there's plenty of dusty car parks about. And it was actually by Fatso's dusty car park, if you know about that dusty car park as well. And yeah, I come back, and there was no actual damage to my car. There was no damage to my car at all, because I've parked my car, locked my car, put my keys in my bag, and because I had business cards in there, I had unnecessary keys on my keys, I had money, I had loose change. What I think's happened is I've put my keys in, it's pressed a button on my keys and just unlocked my car. So then when I went for some lunch, I've come back, no damage to the car at all. I've got in the car, not even checked the boot of my car, and I've noticed the chargers that we bought earlier in the day, the chargers had gone missing, these chargers, yeah. So it was like that. I don't know how I didn't even think about it at the time. Like, these chargers are just gone, and I was like, what's happened to these chargers? And nothing, didn't even clock, because it was like I said, I thought I'd locked the car. So when I come back to the car, I've just pressed the key thinking it was locked, and just got in the car and gone. I was like, where are these chargers gone? Gone back to the apartment and literally put my boot up. Just the bags they were left in, and my heart, I went from the happiest I'd ever been in my entire life to like because I knew there was 13 pair of. They weren't like cheap trainers. They were at least £1,000 a pair. I remember one pair costing me £1,500, but luckily in Ibiza there's a Dior store and a Louis Vuitton store, and I managed to replace the trainers. A lot of the trainers have gone missing, or I had to kind of just give the cash to the people who got their stuff off personal shoppers. That cost me £13,000 to replace these, and I had to replace it within a week. It took me 4 days to tell the clients because I was panicking that much. I didn't know how to approach the situation. I just knew that, right, I'm not going to get these trainers back. This is going to cost me £13,000. Wiped me out differently, took every last cent. Anyone who goes to Ibiza, the police probably ain't gonna, the police ain't gonna help me track them down. So I was like in the middle of I was in a completely different country. I knew I'd lost all my money. I had a shop that I knew was closed, that I still had to pay my rent on, because my rent was covered in my bank account, as well as my rent that I needed to cover in Ibiza, which weren't cheap. It was about €650 a month, on top of a £550 a month shop rent that I had to find. And I was only been there 3 weeks, so I hadn't even been there a month. I hadn't even paid my first instalment of my shop rent, or I paid the first instalment of the Ibiza rent, but the second instalment was coming up. And all this money's been taken away from me. I'm now in a position where unless I earn money that day, I can't even go and buy some food. I can't even go buy a drink. And this is where my friends really started, really helped me out. And, you know, I had amazing friends who really supported me through it. But ultimately, this was the beginning of my 4-year downfall, where I developed severe depression from failure. Because in my head, I failed. I'd sold all the trainers in the shop, which is the reason why I had the shop. Because I didn't need a shop to clean trainers, I could have had a unit space anywhere. I purposely got a shop so I could be the first reselling store in Stourbridge as well as shoe cleaning. So all this sort of stuff, kind of, I knew in the back of my mind it had gone after 3 weeks. And it felt like the rug had been completely pulled on my own world, you know what I mean? All my finances had, all the investments I invested, it cost me over, including the loss, probably over 20 grand it cost me. And it took me from my sanity for 4 long years, just because it just saddened me, because I knew my biggest goal, I put everything on the line for it to just go tits up after 3 weeks. Going from there to here in a split second, I just got lost in trying to find myself back. I was stretched from the shop. It put me in massive debt. Because I stayed for the whole 3 months. I should have come home, but I feel like I would have been even worse if I come home, because like I put all this promo out there that I'm doing the summer in Ibiza, this, that and the other, and then for 3 weeks to come home, I feel like I would have been even worse. So, you know, it's a catch-22. I don't know, should I, it's one of them. But yeah, once that happened, that's when my depressed state came in and started to roll. So I had the shop, I took my eye off the ball. I was constantly chasing money to try and repay debts, because I was so severely depressed after. I didn't want to go to my shop. I didn't want to, you know, it just completely and utterly shattered every last bit of drive that I had in me, which also then had a domino effect on other areas of my life. I didn't care what I looked like. I self-isolated. And because I was so depressed, and because I've always been to Ibiza, I've trust me, I've partied. You know what I mean? And when you party, you know, you get you know, all these things that everyone who goes to party knows what parties are like. You know, you kind of get a full sense of reality, like being in a party and having a good time. And I feel like because I did that from a very young age. When I was 18, I was always going to the raves and the parties. I developed an addiction because it was the only thing that I knew that would stop or escape me from these depressed thoughts that I had. I was sad every day. Like I say, I'm an overthinker, massive overthinker, and I overanalyze every little thing. I'm overanalyzing myself now about me rambling and this, that, and the other. Do you know what I mean? But it's just the type of person I am. So that kind of was a massive factor in me developing an addiction to silence my thoughts. Because even without the depression, even when before I got robbed in Ibiza, I've been hugely driven and hyper focused, where I want everything to be perfect. So I'll probably overthink about this, I overthink about that, because I want everything to be perfect. And being my mind going 100 miles an hour all the time. Now it's going 100 miles an hour all the time. It goes 100 miles an hour. Whether I was the happiest I'd ever been or the worst I'd ever been, my mind was always on the go all the time. So it was the only thing that really put my mind at rest. And it helped me deal with stress massively as well, but also made it 10 times worse. I'll urge anyone, never ever do anything to cope with stress, because that's what will bring you down. If you start doing things to cope with stress, it's a slippery slope, because you'll get used to that feeling, and really with your stress, you need to be hitting your stresses head on. Don't escape your stresses, because you'll make things 10 times worse. And there's a quote that will always stick with me, and it's like, be careful you don't get on the wrong train, because the longer you're on it, the more expensive the return ticket is. And I massively relate to that, because I got on the wrong train 4 years ago, right? And I self-sabotaged for 4 years, as well as being depressed for 4 years. I put myself in huge debt, which I'm still trying to recover from now, but I'm moving in the right direction, and it's really going well. But for 4 years I put myself in huge debt because I was on that train and I didn't know how or when to get off for such a long time. It's cost me an arm and a leg to get back. Trust me, an arm and a leg to get back, and I'm still recovering now. So if you sense that you are developing an issue, or you feel like you're starting to go down the wrong path, knock it on the head there. Don't think, oh, one more time, or other times, or this will be all right this time, or go out partying, because that's an escape from anyone who deals with struggling thoughts, because you're only going to make your problem worse. It might not take a year, it might not take 2 years, it might take 3, but it'll definitely hit after 4 years, and that's what hit after me, and I was in a terrible rut. Because what I will mention as well is, on my Instagram account page at Clean Soul, you'll see the drastic difference between me 3 months ago to how I look now. There's a before and after picture on there, and you will know the state of mind I was in. I was also inviting a lot of pressure on myself. I had the pressure of a shop that I was really fighting to keep open, because I didn't want to close the shop due to what happened in Ibiza. So I was really stretching myself. I had someone working for me at the time as well, so I had to pay them a wage as well, on top of all my other bills and debt repayments and other payments, which I'm not going to go into, but if you know me well enough, you'll know what I'm trying to get at. And in the end, I moved out of Stourbridge. I went to try and find another job and this, that and the other, to try and and I was very was so close to giving up on Clean Soul, because it just wasn't working for me. My personal routine, my mental headspace, just working from home, having the freedom with lack of discipline, by the way, because throughout them 4 years, all my drive and self-discipline, self-respect, self-morals all just went out the window. So I was running a business by winging it, by not living a normal life, not having any form of routine, not wanting to get out of bed, not wanting to socialise, not wanting to go out and see friends, not wanting to see my missus, not wanting to socialise with anyone. I just completely locked myself away. But it just got to a head where the bad was just starting to outweigh the good, because I was never like it before. I was, like I say, I achieved Ibiza, I got there, I was very driven, I had a shop, achieved all that sort of stuff. So I wasn't never like it before. Obviously when I got robbed in Ibiza, that's when I changed as a person, and my brain kind of chemistry all changed, and obviously through my own wrongdoing, and I wasn't helping myself either. Like I said, I was on a self-sabotage. Every relationship close to me was hanging on by one single thread, and after 4 years of trying, it became Friday the 18th of April, and I wrote it in my phone. My phone's on charge, I'll show you at the end. I wrote the date in my phone when I decided to really try, but I mean try one last time. I didn't need to try one. Well, I did need to try one last time, but the thing is, when you're in such of a rut, it's not just needing, you have to want to change, because for a long period of time I was getting away. I wanted to change, but there was nothing really sparking a catalyst of change. I was probably getting away with things that I shouldn't have been getting away with. Things were getting brushed under the carpet, which kind of allowed me to kind of carry on doing what I was doing in a way. And it obviously wasn't the best thing to do, because I just continued to go down this horrible path, and it just come to a point where I knew I would end up being homeless if not. I lived with my nan. She put up for it for years, and when I saw my nan crying in front of me, that's like, this sort of thing had happened loads of times. When I kind of knew, right, I'm going to end up on the streets here, when I really knew that would happen, that's when the penny dropped. That's when I decided to change. But obviously, not just because of that reason. Obviously, a massive contributing factor, I have a business that I've been running for years that was just running into the ground. It turned me unreliable, my quality control was no good, my drive was no good, and I just didn't care about anything. It suppressed all my feelings, suppressed all my suppressed everything about me. So yeah, I can honestly sit here and say that I have beaten depression because I am the happiest I have been in years. I'm not in the best position financially. I earn money, I do well, but because I'm still recovering from the consequences of depression and addiction, I've just kind of had to accept the fact, right, if I really want to turn my life around, I have to accept where I'm at and restart again. And after 7 years, I have done a full U-turn. I've gone on a massive roller coaster journey with Clean Soul, and I am back to where I started. Anyone who's going through a similar thing, it's a good thing to accept where you are, because you can either cry about it and not change the situation, or laugh about it and change the situation. So that's how I looked at it. So I've now got my drive back, as you can probably tell. Obviously, I'm at the point now where I just over 2 months into a 3-month challenge I set. If you go to my Instagram page, you'll see a before and after picture from and there's 3 months between them. But because of the rock bottom I was at, I was figuring out ways to how I can make myself better, and what it come down to making myself better, because I was crumbling under pressure. I had that many eyes on me. My nans, my missus, her parents, I had that many eyes on me. I was crumbling under pressure, whereas I had to remove all pressure from me. I had to accept where I was, completely erase all pressure from me. I still had the financial pressure, but that was something that I could focus and deal with. But if I had so many eyes in on me, I was just struggling with that. So I have a relationship of 7 years this year that I had to completely not cut off, but I had to basically say, look, I cannot maintain this relationship any longer with the way I'm feeling. I have to go away for at least 3 months and really focus on my own mental well-being and headspace, because as long as I'm all right, the rest will follow, which I believe it is starting to do again now. So I had to cut off the relationship and that sort of thing. Also friends as well. So I didn't go out and see any friends. I do now, because of how much of a difference I feel in myself. I know it's not a problem anymore. But because I feel in myself, I'm doing much better. I feel better, look better. I've kind of integrated showing my face a little bit more in social situations, and I'm not cold turkey. I do drink. I don't drink alcohol. I've never really been a big drinker, but what I have learned to do is been able to go out to social situations and have 1 or 2 alcoholic drinks and just go about, be present and talk to people and socialise and network, which I used to do before anyway, but for such a long time I've kind of not been in the right headspace to be doing that. So now I have this second kind of opportunity to be able to reinvent myself. That's exactly what I'm doing, because I'm getting better, and I've felt the massive change in my headspace. I wanted to kind of set myself different challenges to really push myself and get myself to a point of mental strength and really test myself. And one of these things was I ran half a marathon, but it wasn't a half a marathon event. I was actually around my friend's house, and this is a good story for you. I was around my friend's house on the evening, and we was talking about, because he'd done a half a marathon before, the Worcester half a marathon. I asked him how long half a marathon was. I didn't even know how long half a marathon was, and I haven't even but when I did this, I hadn't even run 5k in the last 6 months. I don't really like running, but I wanted something that I could be really proud of achieving for myself. So I asked him how long half a marathon was. He said 22k. Not a joke. This is no joke, and it ain't a joke, by the way. It's a long distance 22k. And I was literally lying there like this, yeah, watching TV. I looked at him and I went, I'm going to do that tomorrow morning. I'm going to do half a marathon tomorrow morning. It's on my Instagram as well. You'll find it on my Instagram. No training. I hadn't run 5k in the last 6 months. I did it in 2.5 hours. I felt like my knee was going to pop out and everything, but the fact that I pushed myself after no training really showed me how far I'd come mentally and how much I can dig in, because of the deep depths addiction took me. So if you are suffering with an addiction or depression, trust me, if you want to get better, you will get better. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes a lot of mental strength, mental grit, and it took me 4 years of trying. And I didn't give up, and I never was gonna. But this is the length of time it can take. So if you are, do not give up. Now I'm sat here in front of you in such a better mental. Sometimes I listen to music, yeah, and it motivates me that much. It brings tears to my eyes. I swear to God, it does. It honestly, it does. So, like, honestly, I feel that I'm great. I feel that good. I feel like my business is going in the right direction again. Myself's going in the right direction again. And because of all this, all my creative juices are flowing, which is why I'm here doing this video. We've got the balloons, mint balloons. We've got Brad on the camera. You know, we're moving forward now, and with a lot of different format of content. And this is what I want to start doing for my future plans with Clean Soul. Still going to be absolutely smashing the trainers out, but what I want to start integrating into my social media platforms now is this form of content. Podcast. I would love to do a podcast, have my own podcast, do podcasts. That is something that is a form of content that I love watching and talking, because the main way I got better, it took a while, was talking and being open. I've always been open about my problems, always. Even though I've had a million and one different thoughts go around in my head, I've always been open and honest about the struggle that I've been through. Because if it can help at least one person, because I know how hard it is, and inspires one person to change their life and turn their life around, it's worth it for me. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if people judge me for being open about it. I don't care. As long as it helps someone who's in the deep depths of struggle, it's worth it for me. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned, because there's going to be plenty more of this content coming. Appreciate you all. Like, comment, share and subscribe to the channel. Love you all.